Hello. Appreciate your attendance on the conference call. That was an interesting adventure. Opening statement, excited to finally have game week here. It feels like we've been hitting each other for the last 9 months, which is about accurate. We have been, if you include spring practice and training camp. We have, it's been a long time since we've gone against somebody in an opposite colored jersey, and I know our kids are excited to do that. They've worked extremely hard through training camp, really on from the time we got here. Really, they put in the blood, sweat, tears, mental and emotional kind of exhaustion that we put them through, and they've certainly come through it. Couple notes of injury: Josh Thomas, Kalik Kakuma, and Hayden Daniels are all questionable for the game against Tennessee Tech. Josh Thomas sprained his ankle about a week ago, high ankle sprain, hoping to have him back for the Louisville game. Kalik Kakuma, as you know, has been progressing slowly but surely off of a broken foot, and then Hayden Daniels last week tweaked his knee, had it scoped, and would only be probably available in an emergency situation. So, and then I do want to give special recognition to the 4 guys that were named captain last week, and that's Kenneth Farrow, Alex Cooper, Elandon Roberts, and Adrian McDonald. I had the pleasure and joy of calling their high school coaches all this morning, something I probably should have done last week when it was announced, but got an opportunity to thank their high school coaches for sending us such great young men and leaders of our team. And the neat thing is all of them, all their high school coaches said that those kids were young men now, were exactly the same in high school, that they were kind of born leaders. So we look to them to kind of set the tempo and culture of what we want to try to accomplish. So with that, we can ask away. Or not.
I guess I don't like it then. Coach.
You can have mine. What's up?
Now that it's week 1, everybody's getting ready. Today is just Monday, but moving forward toward the end of the week, how's everybody?
Yeah, I think, now it's, I used the phrase this morning in our staff meeting with our coaches that it's time to button up. It's time to tie up all the loose ends. It's time to stop missing, silly assignments. It's time to make the tackles that we might have missed in a couple weeks ago. So it's time to just button up, just to get everything, dot all our I's and cross all our T's. And we're constantly in a mode of teaching our kids, our players, how to be pros. And that means when you're not in class or you're not in the study hall, you're here and you're watching film, you're taking video tests, you're getting your legs right. If you're a skill guy, that's big for me. I know our skill guys, we're going to practice today, and we're going to practice tomorrow, and we're going to practice Wednesday, and we're going to practice Thursday, and I don't want to hear any moaning about their legs being tired, because we gave them all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and Monday until 4 o'clock off, and what they did with it was, or how their legs feel is a direct reflection of what they did with that time off. And so I think the mentality now goes into full game mode and preparing and implementing the game plan as the week winds down.
Tom, you talked some leading up to the game about offensive, defensive lines. How do you like where they are now going into week 1?
I did. I did. Was that a question or a statement?
My question was, how do you like
Oh, okay. Yeah, great on defense, good, better on offense. I think, again, in our 3-4, we've got 4, maybe 5 guys that we feel good putting in the game, and that's probably about right for this league. We've got 5 O-linemen that I feel good about, not great. I think where we came from the first practice of the spring until now is absolute light years ahead of where we were, and we've turned a very, very, very very below average offensive line into one that's performing at an average to above average level right now. And if we can sustain that and continue to get better as the season progresses, I think we'll have an opportunity to win some games. We have de-gooified them, yes. Most of them are, Calamar still has some goo about him, but he is certainly much less gooey than he was 6 months ago. But other than that, no, I like the way they look. I like the way they're moving around, and they're a much more physical outfit than they were a couple months ago.
What did you see in camp from the two quarterbacks that once you make your decision for the opener, that you get what you needed out of those two?
I did, yeah, we did. They both were guys that improved on their weaknesses. In terms of, you know, we knew Greg could run around, and we knew he had a quick, easy release. What he needed to be was a little bit more decisive in his reads, and has done that. And then Adam, we needed him to, you know, I don't know that you're going to get faster, but Adam certainly had some runs in training camp that probably turned a few heads because of the time he's put in the off season to developing his quickness and acceleration. And Adam is certainly, he's no stiff. You know, he's not a statue back there, but he's never going to be Greg Ward, you know, in terms of his athleticism. And so what Adam needs to do, and what he has done for the most part, has you know, managed the game with his brain a little bit. And so it'll be interesting coming down the stretch here.
Is it what you expected coming into your first head coaching job, leading into the first game, all the preparation, the things that you might have learned from previous jobs, with your first head coaching job?
I don't know that I expected anything. It's certainly, nothing has really surprised me other than, you know, we got in there as an offensive staff yesterday, and really we spent from about 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., you know, kind of really finalizing the game plan for Tennessee Tech. And we had kind of had a preliminary one that we had practiced against scouts, but yesterday was really kind of the meat and potatoes of everything we're going to do this week. And I realized how much I'd missed that part of it, of the X's and O's and game planning for an opponent, you know, because I've been running around trying to speak to classes and, you know, get purchase orders for graphics in our hallways and the things that head coach needs to do around here, that it was nice to spend an entire day and just sit down in the film room with the offensive staff and say, okay, offensively, how are we going to beat these guys? And so that part was fun, but nothing's really surprised me. And so I guess, yeah, it has all kind of gone as expected.
What do you see on Tennessee Tech? It looks like that one defensive player who was out last year, Goff. I don't know its number. I don't know if you know my number, but
No, I got my depth chart here.
their lead guy on defense. But anything stand out from them just watching film?
Yeah, it's tough. Any of the guys, we have not really studied any of the guys that weren't on last year's film. You're talking about Tredarius Goff. They're starting Mike linebacker. He was not on their film last year, so it's tough for us. We're not going to go 2 years back to watch film on these guys. But I do know that schematically they do a really good job of mixing things up on defense, from a 4-down look to a 3-down look to some pressures, and they don't let you really settle in. I think we're going to have to do quite a bit of checking at the line of scrimmage and quarterbacks, and getting us in and out of plays that are more advantageous to certain looks than others. And so just from a X's and O's standpoint, they pose a bit of an issue there because of their multiplicity. And then you know, they got good players. They're you know, they're a good football team. I think their outside linebacker's a good player. From what I hear, the Goff kid's a good player. Obviously, the kid on offense, yeah, the number 3, what is Ladarius Van Leer, the little punt returner slash slot receiver, is a fantastic player, very dynamic. So we'll have our hands full personnel-wise, and then obviously, like I said, the overall scheme of what they do defensively will make it challenging for us.
I mean, it's certainly no knock on them, but do you, and not trying to get you to look ahead, but do you scale down what you present in the opener because of the second high?
No, I don't know where, every year that comes up, and I mean, there's no, you got to go win the game, you know. Now, if it's 45-7 in the third quarter and we haven't called something that we think, you know, might be best used if we shelf it for a week, certainly. But I don't think you ever go in and say, we're only going to do this, this, and this, and see if we can win the game that way. I think you say, we're going to win the game doing all of it, all that's necessary, and then if something, you know, has been left off of the film that you think is better to have to keep off the film, I think you make that decision in game. But going into the game, man, it's all hands on deck. It's the playbook is open, wide open, as they say.
Tell me, I've asked you a lot of global questions since you got this job. You've been working for many, many years to get to this point. Has that? Sometimes you can be too close to the forest and trees. And
Yeah.
so much going on. Has it kind of get you that you've worked? Here you are. You're finally there, doing exactly what you've been working toward.
No, which is probably good, or I'd probably be a nervous wreck. So it hasn't. I've kept myself busy enough to not worry about that. I think, you know, Friday night and Saturday morning, I'll probably be a nervous wreck. I think the one thing, though, that a lot of my mentors have told me is that their first game, I don't know if regret is the right word, but they wish they had enjoyed the moment more. And so I've made a conscious decision each day that I wake up to, you know, today and tomorrow, and even on game day, that I'm going to remember to enjoy the moment and not get too wrapped up in my own nerves or my own anxiety, that I'm going to smell the air and look around and see the great fans and enjoy the moment. It'll be my first time since 2004 that I've been on the sideline for a college football game, too. So that's going to be an interesting experience for me, too. It's been 11 years since I've been on the sideline.
I guess that's going to be easier said than done, right? All the things you just
Absolutely. But if I don't say it, then I have no chance of doing it. So I'm going to continue to say it in hopes that I can do it.
Is it going to be a regular breakdown on how you have coaches up will major?
Yeah, Major and Corby Meekins and our offensive line graduate assistant, Eric Sosa, will be in the box for the offense. And then you know, Jason Washington and our defensive graduate assistant will be up in the box for the defense. Pretty standard.
You had mentioned through camp that, you know, Javin had such a good camp
Before he dinged his shoulder, yeah.
looking like this, it looks like.
He's right back at it. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
As far as, you know, him and that backup spot with him and Ryan, is it just a matter of kind of fill it out, see where it goes?
Yeah, I think obviously we're going to play Kenneth until he gets to the point of diminishing returns. You know, you got to manage, especially those guys. Their reps. You want them to be as fresh as can be in the fourth quarter, and you don't want to wear them out in the first and second quarter. So I would imagine the first guy to go in would be Ryan. So does that make him the backup? I don't know, but the next time Farrow needs a break, it'll probably be Javin going in, and so that's why we listed him as or on there, because you know, we'll kind of rotate those two guys around when Kenneth needs a blow. And there's a few certain things that we, you know, aren't as suited to Kenneth's running style that we might substitute him in specifically to do, but we're going to play Kenneth Farrow quite a bit.
Can you talk about a little bit about Kenneth and what he brings with all of his leadership and his experience?
How long you got?
As long as you want.
I love him. I absolutely love him. He is the poster child for what we want this culture to be. He's our best player on offense, and yet he's our hardest worker. And that's, you know, you have a chance for success when your best players are your hardest workers. I think a lot of places that's not the case, that the best players are really the least hardest working guys, and they get by on talent alone, where Kenneth is a grinder, and he's a great guy off the field. He's a leader. He was one of the first guys that I noticed that really bought into what we were doing, and you know, really kind of gave us as a staff his heart and said, "You tell me what to do, and I'll do it. I'm ready." And for that, I'll forever be indebted to him, because I think he pulled a lot of guys that were on the fence. He pulled them over the fence to the good side, and you know, he's the proverbial marry your daughter kind of guy. You know, I wish my daughter were 10 years older so I could arrange that marriage, but I'm not so sure he'd like me as a father-in-law, though. But I do. I have nothing but great things to say about him. And the neat thing is I think all of our captains, you know, and I mentioned it earlier, they're when 4 of your best players are the 4 hardest working guys on the team, you're going to have a chance to be successful, and I think that's what we got in those 4 guys.
Tom, looking at the receivers, I guess you have 3 listed here, depending on how you go. I mean, you mentioned the 4. Going in, you feel comfortable there, and then in terms of you get the other ones, or just because that's kind of been the unknown of who's going to show up, you know, behind them. You look to get them some extra.
Is this going to make its way to Bleacher Report like your last tweet? Yeah, we've got 4 guys right now that I would feel good about them playing over 10 snaps in the game. You know, if any of those 4 guys are out there for an extended period of time, I'm not going to lose my breath on the sideline. Beyond that, you know, we still Linnell Bonner and Tyreek Gray, they need to pick it up a little bit, and for them to play an extended amount of time, they're going to have to show some major improvement this week, and I think they have it in them. You know, and the scary part is behind those 2 guys. I mean, that gives you 6. I don't see it. You know, I don't see anybody just coming out. I mean, what have we had? You know, by the end of this week, we'll have had 44 practices, and you know, if they haven't shown it through the first 38 of them, I'm not sure that or even a glimmer, I'm not sure that we're going to get it out of them. So, and that's okay. We'll if we got to go through the season with 6, we'll find a way to make that work. And but Linnell and Tyreek have to be those legitimate 6th, you know, 5th and 6th guy that nobody holds their breath, you know, when they go in for an extended period of time.
Does it change your in-game management being on the sidelines, or how does it change you as you see the game, you know, not being as familiar?
Well, I hate the view. It's not near the view that you have when you're up in the box. So, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, I wanted to hire an offensive coordinator that I felt good about calling the plays as well. I've never called plays from the sideline, and it would, I'd probably be doing that job an injustice if I tried to do it. I will certainly offensively be very involved and make some suggestions, some maybe a little bit more sternly than others, as to kind of the direction, or, you know, hey, you know, Mage, when we cross the 50 here, you know, the corner over here is looking a little bit tired. Maybe you should take a shot over his head, or whatever the case may be. That'll be my role offensively. I'll be very active in the special teams. I'll be calling the different, you know, punt formations and types of punts that we have, and the return, whether we return it or block it, and the different kickoff returns. So I'll call those, but that's certainly not as integral as calling an entire offense. So Major will do that with some suggestion from me, and I'll try to do my best to see the game as best I can.
Anything else?
Good? All right. Thanks, guys.